We're going to go back into the game because we have the pick phase underway, and no surprise there. Who'd have thunk it? Third match in a row, third China insta-lock.
Yeah, I mean, it is by far, I think, Big's best map. You saw that performance on China against Pac B, and it's really a no-brainer for them to pick this first. But seeing how last match went on USA, it seemed like a pretty safe pick, but then Big did more or less unexpectedly just start performing on it. That's not gonna stop Orgless from picking it as their first pick here, followed by Brazil. Big's last pick. I think we might just see the exact same map picks again, right?
I don't think so. Already we're having Brazil in map 3, not map 4. France. I was expecting France to be on map 4 given the lack of preference from Massa compared to Greece. You might have heard some of the stuff that I said earlier, but according to his socials, he likes to go to Greece on vacation, not really to drive on the Greece map on the Trackmania esports, as could be exemplified during the first game against Genji Weibo. But as a result, it will be China, USA, Brazil, France, and Greece. Your map order for the third game of the day.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to put a little bit of a theme on this, both China and USA, really the identity is not quite the defining parts of those maps, or rather where like the big mistakes happen, similar to like France and Brazil. So I think those maps are very much more interesting in their starts and middle sections rather than specifically when the identities are coming down to play. However, that's not to discredit the identities. We've seen a lot of mistakes, especially on that identity on USA. The Neo slides can be quite tricky to hit properly. We've seen Granati fall off. We've seen everyone basically clip there. So it really doesn't matter who you are. However, that identity on China, I don't think we've seen any massive mistakes up here in Division 1 yet.
No, the identity on China is seldom a key factor. The key factor is at the very start with the buck slide attempts. And we've seen maybe a couple of slide outs here and there at checkpoint 4, but that, again, it's very much in the first few quarters that the outcome of the round is more often decided as we get started in about 50 seconds. My prediction, given the form that we're seeing Big in at the moment and how early they are in their streak, I'm predicting a 3-0 for Big. Third map might not be all that conclusive, or second map for that matter, but I'm thinking Big has got this under lock and key. They will get another 3-0 under their belts.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can deny the fact that Big is most likely the favorite for this match. I mean, we've just seen them win against the Pac and the Carl Jr. 3-1, no less. So I think they're definitely going to be winning. However, you know, despite how well their start went against the Pac B duo on USA, you know, they did start looking dropping a little bit of that pace towards the end, but they of course did end up winning. So maybe Orgless is gonna have a chance to inch out a point on USA. It's gonna be starting here in just a moment. I'm gonna be predicting a 3-1 Orgless. I'm hoping they can manage to pick up a map. We're heading into round number 1 here on China. I think we're gonna be seeing bug slides galore, especially coming out from Big sides. Stufz is not gonna be going with it, but the other 3 are gonna be sending it, and round number 1 is kicking off.
Well, I guess if you meant from the Big's clan, you can also kind of put in Letzter, of course, formerly a part of the Big Select Up Academy team, and currently mixing it up with his former teammates. Granati currently sitting in first, Massa in third, Letzter going a little bit high on the ice slide on the way to checkpoint number 5. We'll be losing a lot of speed on the exit, and will thus promote Massa back up to second, and a huge send from Letzter, nearly barrel rolled out of existence there, kept it on the dirt somehow, but he will be dropping again a lot of time, and will give Massa a bit of a breakaway run for freedom, trying to lock that second place in. And Granati, 3/10 further ahead, will try to kind of set the leaderboard alight for the first time of asking here on this opening round of China, trying to put in a representative time to see what he can actually get away with as we go into the second ice turnaround from the perspective of Massa. It will be a big 1-2. What will the stopwatch say at the stripe? It will be a 0.685, so not quite as hot as I was expecting it to be. So again, maybe the visual differences with the gaps kind of playing havoc with our minds, but still, Big starting off exactly how they've started on China throughout the previous 2 games, and that is with a very net lead, 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't think there's any big surprises coming in here. The way Big has looked, oh, that's a big mistake from Letzer there, messing up the box slide. Yeah, as I was saying, the way Big has looked on China these past few rounds, I don't think Orgless or anyone else is going to be expecting to put in any big points on this map. I think they're going to be happy if they can grab a few of those, but I think this is more like a buy map, you know? I mean, you're gonna go down 1 point against Big on China. That's just how your match is going to be opening up. No matter what you do. Nice save there from Massa to keep the ace formation going. We're heading towards the identity, and considering how the identity has gone, I don't think we're going to see a big swap up in positions here anytime.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like a locking into the positions very early on, courtesy of the mishaps at the box slide for Letzer and Stutz's sluggish start as well, despite the Dutchman looking to try and pile the pressure on Massa, trying to reel the gap back down to something that is a little bit more palatable. It is going to be all for naught as he even slides a little bit sideways and avoids topping the barrier before the final checkpoint. It will be Granati taking another round win with a .531, and I want to give a little bit of a look at Massa's save there. Just look on the right-hand side of the screen. He's going to be clipping the top right there of that little scaffolding. Will be drifting out wide. He manages to save it though, and will be able to keep that second place courtesy of the huge gap that was opening up as we go from the helicopter camera again for the box slides. Any significant slowdowns? No, everybody makes it through clean on the top three, although Letzer will drop a little bit behind and will allow Granati and Massa to potentially romp their way towards back-to-back-to-back aces.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big deciding factor in this huge performance on China from Big is just their consistency at the box slide at the start. It saves a handful amount of time that's definitely worth it to go for in this Division 1 here, but actually being able to pull it off so consistently, and we've seen it from other Division 1 teams, but I don't think we've seen it as consistently from any other. That's kind of the big difference maker for them that allows them to go ahead on these matches. And they're going to be taking home what seems like their third ace in a row, 9-0. Orgless not able to put in any, any points here with 105.4, which is a very, very nice time. Yeah, third ace, 9 points. I think it is fair to call that it's very realistic that we're going to see a 12-0 on the opening map here for Big, kind of mirroring their performance we've seen before. And yeah, with that mistake, I don't think Orgless is going to be able to put up much more of a fight on this first
Yeah, Orgless basically had Letzer to try and uphold the individual honor of themselves, but he landed a bit on this back bumper, landed on his rear, not quite on the rear axle, but on the back bumper, resulting in a bad bounce, slowing him down dramatically at the landing after the box slide. Thus, Massa and Granati just take advantage of the situation to just pull away like nobody's business, and Granati continued to slowly but surely turn up the wick. It seems like it was a 105.6, round 1, 0.5 in round 2, 0.4 in round number 3. Is that streak going to continue, and are we going to be seeing another 0.3, maybe even a 0.2? I don't think so. Maybe they're seeing the gaps and looking, okay, maybe just to lift a little bit off the throttle. We got enough gap to manage and see the other two red cars coming, and it will be a 12-0 secured here on China. A 4-round deal delivered in less than 5 minutes. It will be a 0.202 though by Granati. Completely unrelenting, keeps on turning the stove up until very high heat. Absolutely cooking Orgless there. 12-0, map 1 goes the way of the blue side.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you're on a 9-0 scoreline, you might as well be sending it. And yeah, with a 0.2, that is an amazing time to close out that first match. That first map, 12-0. Nothing that Orgless could do there. I mean, it seemed like Big were just driving their time attack rounds, you know, just kind of practicing the maps, and Orgless was, all while that was going on, struggling for their life, not even able to put a person into second place there. So yeah, a very, 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 very well-deserved first map win there for Big. And we're going to be heading on to USA. We've seen mistakes here from Big. They have looked shaky sometimes, but of course they did win this map against Pac B, and their start there during that match looked very solid.
Well, so it has to be said, I wanted to interject there. It was a bit. This was a bit of a two-faced map, I think, for Big, because you saw on Genji Weibo they did take the map win against Wu Silent He, but they were more lumbering through the map than anything else. They was looking very, very messy. There was a lot of silly mistakes that could have been avoided to make the map a little bit more convincing. They got away with it, but they knew that they could not really get away with it versus Pack B. And as a matter of fact, as Patster reported, we did have Granati train a little bit offline before joining the match against Carl and Pack to kind of nail the map. And they showed a completely different face when they were showing up against Pack B, even though it was still struggling a little bit towards the final third of the map there or thereabouts. They still put on a much more convincing show on USA, and they're hoping to keep that form going as we go into the first round of map number 2, going for the helicopter perspective for the first pass through the quarter pipe in this match. And look at how much Granati is pulling away. He's pulled a 10th of a gap before the end of Sector 1.
Yeah, Big is one of those teams that I expect kind of that top-level consistency from, and that's what we saw in China here, and that's hopefully what we're going to be seeing more of on USA as they are heading into some nice pace here on that first round. Granati's still ahead, but the flick is coming up, and the breeze blocks are going to be death of Granati. He's going to be clipping, falling all the way in the 4th place as both Orgless players are were very much within striking distance. So Massa all of a sudden now has to defend that ace, but he has got a somewhat comfortable lead. Stofts is going to be falling off the identity there, and Massa is going to be finishing in 1st place with 102.9, and a victory going the way of Big here to start it up.
Yeah, and it's safe to say that Massa kind of dodged a bullet because Leicester caught a significant clip like the likes of Chokes is experiencing before the run into the finish line after the final corner. And had Leicester not gotten that, he was coming in with a bit more speed, it seemed like, compared to Massa going into the finish. So it would likely have been potentially a draw that would have been settled, and Orgless would have been in there, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be for the red side as we go into round number 2. And it looks as though Leicester will be at the tail end of the field, bobbles a little bit his way through the bobsleigh, goes a little bit high, and thus will be a bit sideways going out of the bobsleigh as we go through the quarter pipe. Gets a bit of a clip on the way into the landing. Will be able to make it through without losing significant chunks of time, and it will be Granati and Massa 1st and 2nd, but Stubbs in hot pursuit of Massa actually and giving him the business until he goes too wide and clobbers the wall at the exit of checkpoint number 5's dirt section.
Yeah, and Big looking to just keep the pressure on. They couldn't secure that ace last round due to the flick right here where Granati clipped. This time, that's not going to be happening, and so they're going to be finding themselves in a top 2 position. Leicester now, all that he wants to do is somehow try and prevent the ace, but both of the big players, they're staying ahead of him. Through the identity, it seems like Leicester has slightly more speed. It's going to be up promoted up into 2nd place here, but it's going to come down to the finish, and it's going to be enough to just prevent the ace, but it's not enough.
Massa lucky to get away with it there.
Yeah,
I have to be honest. And yeah, I wanted to give you a little bit of a gander at Stutz's unfortunate mishap at the dirt, but I think we're going to have to keep that for the highlight reel at the end of the game. Well, quote-unquote highlight reels, of course, as we go on to the next round. And back-to-back victories for Big, looking to continue piling on their advantage and kind of rattle Orgless a little bit as we go on to the quarter pipe for the 3rd time here on USA. Everybody clearing it nice and clean. Leicester going a bit further aggressive on the inside of the corner before checkpoint 4. It will be top to bottom, less than a 10th between 1st and 4th at the end of Sector 1. Stuff's losing a little bit of speed at the exit of the dirt, avoiding the walls, and it will be promoting Massa and Granati up into a more perennial 1st and 2nd place. We now go onto the ice before the dirt flick. Any heartbreaks there? No, but what a line from Leicester! Oh my goodness! We're gonna watch this right after this round is done, I promise you that, as Massa continues to fight off the attacks of the German, and he will be pinballing his way through the corner, Leicester, and no slide for Stufts, gifting the ace on a silver plate. It wasn't meant to be for Orgless. It's really a case of what might have been, because just take a look at that dirt flick. Let's just take a little bit of a pause there. Getting close to the first gate on checkpoint 7, and then getting close to the breeze block. How did he not clip that? How did he get away with it? And look at the speed he carries through, crosses the crest in the best manner possible to take the lead, but that lead only lasted all of about 4 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, if you had taken a quick look at the actual times that were driven at the end of the round, just imagining what time Leicester could have driven, that could have been like a 0.4 maybe even, which would have been insane to see. But unfortunately, it was not meant to be. So, yeah, Big is going to be running away from that round with a huge ace for them and putting them onto track point for their 2nd map win. Orgless, though, only 2 points. That round's not going well. Leicester is going to be clipping We're gonna be seeing the ice flick here again, but well, the way it's gone so far, Orgless is gonna have to hope for some big mistakes coming from Big.
Well, unfortunately, the big mistake comes the way of Orgless, which starts with that small breeze block cliff, which has been consequential in a very, very big manner, as he dropped a lot more speed compared to what Masa was able to carry through in the dirt flick, and thus it will be a very, very quick deal settled there. It is a 4-round deal, I think, if I'm not mistaken. 2-1, 4-2, then 7-2, and then 10-2, and it will be second map going the way of Big. Let's just see where it all unraveled for Stuft. Again, through that dirt flick. It's going to be a little bit later in the clip, so just stick with us from the perspective of Masa. Just look at the car further up ahead, the V-Carb liveried car, and this time the breeze block will get hit. He tried to pull the same thing that Letzter was able to get away with, was not quite able to pull it off this time, the young Dutchman, and that will leave Granati all up in the lead, and Masa later on would get second place and thus validate that 10-2 scoreline on USA. As we move on to the second Orgless map pick, we are going to Brazil a little bit more prematurely than what we did during the Pack B game, but it's still looking like Big has got this one under lock and key. If the previous two matches are anything to go by, and if the previous two maps are anything to go by as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I will say my personal opinion of this map, I think, is one of my favorite ones to watch. You know, I mean, I remember when the original in 2023 in the World Championship was played. I do not remember what it was called, by the way. I'm not
Surf.
good with map names. Surf! Thank you very much. I knew that, of course. But yeah, and I'm very, very happy to be seeing this identity come back. It does make for some amazing snipes, especially at the end, and it does have the potential to bring some big, big mistakes, huge upsets in rounds. And, you know, that's always fun to see, especially coming off of the heels of a match on China and USA, where those mistakes in the identity are much less prevalent than on this one. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of a switch up in the kinds of matches we can expect, but with the consistency Big has been putting down, I don't see them being the ones to make those big mistakes.
Well, to be fair, it's not just the identity that can really be very much be a bit of a trap. You have the loop at the very start, then you also got the first glider part that can also be a little bit troublesome, and then of course the identity really being the one to bring all at home. But it will be interesting to see how everybody fares in this first map and first round on Brazil. 217 at the top of the loop for Letzer, who will be going side by side with Granati and gets much better water bounces compared to even Masa, so he will be trying to reel the German veteran back in as he tries to fight off the lead in sector number 1. He will be Granati still going side by side with Letzer, though. Stutz in fourth as we go over the sand in the beach and avoid the clip of the pole gate from Letzer, but he doesn't get the slide. No, that is such a cruel way to go out of that round, as Stutz will be picking up the slack and trying to uphold the honor of his team, and Masa has absolutely no time to waste. Checkpoint 13, 45.320. Could this be the 0.8 and even a 0.7 in the making? Masa has absolutely nothing to do and nothing else to do but just keep on stomping on that lap pedal and keep it pinned as we see the stopwatch go for a 0.896. Masa, mamma mia, Mr. 305 is back in his prime and he is showing it to the world.
Oh my goodness, starting it off like that to say, all right, we're 2-0 and we intend to close it out on this map right here. I mean, shivering in their boots, Orgless, right now after that time from Masa, I believe. I don't even know what to say about that. That was quite amazing. Let's see if he can keep up that performance, and he's gonna have to with that mistake from Granati. Masa looking to secure a draw here in this round, but that mistake from Stufts might just change the script a little bit. I'm not sure who's gonna be ahead here. It seems like it's gonna be Stufts still, despite that huge mistake. But yeah, Masa is going to be finding himself up in the lead here against the second place, the other German, Letzter, who is trying to catch up but has fallen quite a bit behind, about 0.3. Masa, again, on an amazing time there. I think, you know, that long match against Pack B, maybe they want to close this one out fast, take a little bit of a break there. They didn't have the chance to take a break as long between these two matches, but it seems like Masa is just going to be securing the draw for his team here with a 0.9, and yeah, so not allowing Orgless to put in big points on this map so far. and keeping their lead going.
Come
Where's
on,
Granati going?
No, he doesn't. Oh, no. He paid a bit of a hello to Dwayne before the finish gate, and then that just means he was jumping over the finish gate. But, yeah, I was going to say Granati splish splash, he's taking a bath, but, yeah, ended up getting dried out a little bit too early before getting into the finish. Still, Big leading by 3 points, as we did see a bit of a stopping. Who was that? That was Massa midway through the first corner that did get a little bit of a stop in his way. So now it's up to Granati to try and kind of fill in the role of the lead driver here in this round for Big, as we see Stutz emerging in the lead after sector number 1. After he went wide in the previous round, he'll be looking to make amends and try to get those quirks kind of ironed out as he continues to fend off the attacks of the Wheelman for that first position. Letzter going over the sand, trying to get a bit more aggressive in the glider part, but so far it is still Massa holding onto that third place firmly, and Granati still doing battle before checkpoint 13, and we're going to be taking a look at the split times in just a second. Stutz will be leading with a 0.445, still looking very, very solid right now.
Yeah, and it seems like Orgless finally putting in some pace of their own here to try and score some points and close the gap. We're heading to the identity, and it's Granati who's trying to defend that first place position. Oh, double mistakes from Orgless. And that is gone bad to worse for them, as what seemed like a round where Orgless could finally try and catch up a little bit turns into a huge ace, putting Big onto match point 7-1 now. And, well, I mean, that one's gonna hurt. The identity, absolutely deadly. I've talked about this, but seeing 2 mistakes coming in and that mistake from Letzter, I think Big has a huge shot to close out this match as fast as possible.
They could be among the first teams, if not the first team, to make a match, a 12-round deal on Division 1. Right now, Massa and Granati sprinting away, and Letzter and Stutz are completely out of it right at the start of the map. And it looks as though Big's utter dominant run here in this Sunday game day will continue unabated, as both Granati and Massa will go hand in hand through the second sector. Massa slowing down a little bit through the mid-glider part, and they have quite the gap to manage. They got a 1.4 second gap compared to Stutz and Letzter, 0.715. They can afford to lift off the throttle a little bit here as we go into the final big glider, the big one. Letzter forced to respawn yet again. It will be a 10-1 score for Big as they cross the final hairpin and the finish line, 0.195. The times may not be incredible, but the performance is everything it's meant to be for Big. 3 games, 3 wins, and across all of those 3 games, only a single map lost. Big are very much in to stay, and they were among the hot favorite before the start of the split. They were, in fact, top seed coming into this league, and they're proving that they are top seed of Split 1 for a reason.
Yeah, I am wholly impressed with their performance so far, not only beating one of the favorites in the tournament in a match before, but also showing that that wasn't a fluke, and just 12 rounds is what you said? I didn't keep count.
I think it was
Orgless.
12.
I don't think Orgless got more than 3 points on any of those 3 maps, which is an absolutely crazy scoreline to say the least. So Big is gonna definitely be taking a little bit of a longer break here before their next match, but that next match I don't think is going to be quite as easy, as they're going to be facing Foot here in just about half an hour.
Yeah, in about half an hour, they're going to face the all-French duo of Nykel and Legu. And this is one of those other matches. I guess there should be an achievement that we come up with in Overdrive. You know, kind of like Steam achievements. I think we have to have an achievement where we call it Minuteman, where you win a game in under 30 minutes. Because that's exactly what Big did. That's what a couple of other teams have done throughout the season, especially Pac B against AG Global and AG Global against everybody else except Pac B. But I feel like achievements for like how compressed the games can be are definitely in order, as we are also going to be taking a little bit of a break. There is going to be a quick stream cut in a few seconds because, in case you couldn't tell, I'm the one that's in control of being able to do this. I've been the one handling the production over the course of the last 3 hours, and it's always a fun exercise to do these things. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and you also enjoyed the instant replays that we've been able to bring you throughout the entirety of those 3 matches. It's always a pleasure to be able to do those things when everything works, at least, and when everything is properly set up, but I'm glad to say that this time it's been absolutely perfect. And thank you very much, Tobel, for joining me on this third game of the day. I'm going to be ceding my place and leave Mr. Lucker's Turbo to take over for the next two games, starting off, of course, next up with Foot against Big. So Nico Legger versus Massa and Granati. Will be showing you a couple of the highlights from the previous game, and after that, quick stream cut, and Lorai, the master producer, will be back in the booth to kind of guide you through, along with Tobal and Turbo, through these upcoming pack trays. Make sure to stay with us, grab a beverage, grab a snack, and get real comfy because the action on Overdrive never stops and returns right after these highlights.